Hey, happy Thursday. This is the Wealth Lead. In fact, this is episode 56. Welcome. I am Lexi Johnson. I'm an international speaker, licensed financial coach, and strategist, and many other things, right? But we're here to talk finances today. I'm super excited to be with you all. So, as you are coming into the room, let me know who you are and where you're watching from. Today, we are continuing on in our series. We've been doing a series called Cashflow Problems, Cashflow Problems. And so, the first part of the series, we identified what was causing cash flow problems for many people. In our episode last week, um, we talked about life insurance, storehouse number one, which is part of your pay yourself first allocation. And we talked about that last week. Today, we are talking about retirement because I mentioned I wouldn't be talking about all four of the storehouses. I've done videos on all of them at some point in time. And so if you simply just put in a search wherever you're watching, just put in a search for either life insurance or for retirement or for opportunity fund or for emergency fund. You will see all the videos, posts, or whatever related to those topics. But today I wanted to talk about retirement, okay, cash flow problems and retirement. And before we do that, we are going to do our Kingdom Money Moment segment, okay? So I have a question for our Kingdom Money Moment segment today. And that question is this: is money an idol of yours? Is money an idol of yours? Now, listen, before you go answering very, very quickly, okay, I want you to hear me out, okay? Then I want you to answer the question, okay? You can answer in the chat or you can answer, to yourself. But the question is money an idol? Is money an idol? Okay, so in the scriptures, in fact, it is in Matthew chapter 6, verse 24, it says, "No one can serve two masters, for you will hate one and love the other. You will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and be enslaved to money." Okay, that is critical. We're not even just talking about maybe not having enough money and being enslaved that way. You could have enough money, you could have more than enough money and still be enslaved to money here in the mind, right? So, one of the ways, hi, Tierney, good to see you. One of the ways that you can really check and see where your treasure truly is, and I've mentioned this before, if you have been following me for some time, you can pull the most three recent bank statements. Pull your most three recent bank statements. It could be your checking if you regularly are using savings, whatever you're using, credit card statements. Okay, pull the three most recent statements of those things. And then I want you to go through it with a fine-tooth comb. And I want you to see what you are spending your money on. But not only do I want you to see what you're spending your money on, I want you to see what you are spending the most of your money on outside of your obligations. Okay, so your obligations meaning, rent or mortgage, car note. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Do I have to break all that down? You want to see what you're doing with your money outside of your obligations. Where is the bulk of your money being spent? And I'm telling you, that is going to tell you whether or not money is an idol. Okay, it's going to be an indicator. Let me say that it'll be an indicator of whether or not money is an idol. Okay, the other thing is, another way you will know that if money is an idol is if you can't make any decisions, okay, without first looking at that checking account, right? I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything. I can't, I'm always having to look at what's going on, because what that means is that money is the master of you. Okay. So you might be thinking, well, I don't, worship money. I don't, listen, most of us will definitely say that we don't. Okay. But we have to look at our behaviors. We have to look at how our behaviors, what our behaviors say that we do. Okay. So if you are in a position, and I'm not saying this to be, mean or condescending or any of that, because if you know me and you followed me for a long time, then you know my story, you know where I came from financially. Okay. So I don't have any, I don't have any stones to throw as it relates to that. I'm talking to you out of my own experience. Okay. I had to reckon with myself. Like, yeah, you say God is your master, but is he really in this, especially in this area, right? Because it looks like money is dictating to you what you can do and when you can do it, how you can do it, how fast you can do it, how slow you can do it, all of that, right? And so what are you going to do to get yourself in a position where you are the master of your money? Or better yet, that God is the master of your money and you are the steward. Okay. You are the masterful steward of that money. That's the position that we want to be in, but that requires being very honest with self. Okay. So that's our Kingdom Money Minute, Kingdom Money Moment. So let's go on now and let's talk about our topic for the day, which is retirement. Hey, Regala, good to see you. Thank you for watching from India. So today, for those of you who are joining me, I know some of you watch me on the ministry channel, Kingdom Disciples Training Center, and thank you for doing that. You're now watching me on my Money Mastery for Her day-to-day basis. This is what I do, is to help women entrepreneurs to create wealth so that they can live out their purpose and expand the kingdom of God. So today we're talking about retirement. This is part 3 in this cash flow problems series. Okay. So let's talk retirement. Now, I know there are people, because when I meet with people one-on-one, they'll say, well, I'm not interested in retiring. I love what I do. I don't think I'll ever retire. I think I'll always be doing something. And I say, good, because the Bible never talks about retirement. Okay. We go from calling to calling. The Bible never says at some point, hey, you just should sit down and stop doing all the work ever. No, we should be doing something at all times in the kingdom, right? But when I speak of retirement, I speak of the time period, at what moment in your life, at what age in your life do you want to have options? Okay. You may not want to stop doing what you're doing, but you may want to do something else. You may want to, forego that 9 to 5 or that business or whatever and do something a little bit more purposeful, or you just may want to travel more, or whatever it is. You want to have options. Okay. And so if that's the case, that you want to have options, then we've got to plan for it. So statistics will show that, well, before I get to that, most of us, particularly those of us in the US, we think about the day we can retire. We dream about the day that we can retire. Okay. Again, whether it is, quitting all work, or just doing something part-time, or going and doing some other things that we've dreamed of doing, we all think of, that day that we can finally, quote unquote, I'm using the air quotes for retire. Okay. But we can't, it's not enough to just think about it and dream about it. It's not enough. We have to learn how to be strategic. We have to learn how to be focused on putting away the money necessary, okay, so that whenever it is that we retire, and in the United States, the average retirement age is 66, okay, but whenever it is that we retire, we don't have anything to worry about, okay? Statistics show right now that about 56% of, and this is just Americans, we're not even talking about people across the world, okay? But it says that 56% of Americans are not ready, feel that they are not ready for retirement. They feel that they are behind. And you know what? I can stand with that statistic because I have been serving people and helping people with their finances since 2011. Okay. And so 2011, 2012. And so, good afternoon, Brother Maycock. And so, in my experience, I have found that the majority of people that I sit down and work with are behind in retirement if they have anything at all put away for retirement. And oftentimes, to make it, a little bit worse, the people that I often sit down with are people who are in their 40s and who are in their 50s, and they are nearing that retirement age. When we're young, we are not really thinking about retirement or having options, okay, at retirement age. We're thinking that we have a whole lot of time, okay? We think we have all the time in the world when we are young. But then what we find out is that just like that, okay, you are age 50. Like I will be 50 this year, okay? And I'm sitting here like, where and when did that happen? Okay. Where and when did that happen? Because I don't feel 50. I don't look 50. I don't, I'm still, I'm like, I've got a whole lot going on. I got a lot of life yet to live, which I do. But the thing is, what I'm saying is, when I was in my 20s, I didn't think 50 would be coming that fast. Okay. So now there are many people who are in that situation. And because they have not planned, they've not strategically planned, they've not been putting up funds, they're in a pickle. And if there are any young people that are listening to me, you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, I'm going to tell you, it is very important that you start putting up money now. I know that when we're in our 20s and our 30s, that there are so many other things that look so much more attractive. Like it is so much more fun to go on these extravagant trips every year. It's so much more fun to just, kick it with our friends regularly. It is so much more fun to just do what you want to do when you want to do it. But I am warning you, okay, that the numbers age-wise, they start to go like that. And before you know it, you are in a position you have not saved, you have not been strategic, and you are behind. And now you have to do some massive work to get caught up, okay? If you're in your 20s and in your 30s right now, I definitely want you to reach out to me so that you can put a strategic plan in place so that you are not in the position of catching up, okay? Like many of us have had to do, okay? So the other thing that we want to understand is that retirement may be a lot longer than traditionally expected. Okay, the people's lifespan is starting to grow. Okay, I know we see a lot of people who are dying young, but we also have a lot of people who are living longer. There are people who are living well into their 80s and 90s. Okay, and so you want to plan for 20 to 25 years of retirement. That means I need to have enough monies set aside that I can have at least, not at least, but somewhere between 50 to 80% of my current income. Okay, so that means if I'm making $100,000 a year in retirement, I want to plan to have at least 80,000 a year, okay? Or I won't say at least, max 80,000 a year or 50,000 a year, right? Depending upon what your responsibilities are going to be. As you get older, you should have less and less financial obligations. Mortgage should be paid off, cars should be paid off, right? You shouldn't have as much obligations as you do when you are younger, okay? So you need to make sure that, okay, if I desire to have 80% of my income while I am in retirement, that means if we're using the number 100,000, that means I need to have 80,000 per year for about 20 to 25 years. I need to have that put up. And let me also say that we're talking in today's dollars. You have to take into consideration future dollars, okay? Inflation. So it's that 80,000 per year for 20 to 25 years times inflation over the number of years left that you have to work. Okay? So it's not enough to say, "Oh, I've got my 401k. Oh, I've got an IRA. I've got just because you have one does not mean that you are set for retirement." Okay, I'm going to say that again. Just because you have a 401k, just because you have a Roth IRA or whatever other vehicle you're using for investment does not mean that you are set for retirement. Okay, in fact, if all you have is a 401k, I'm going to tell you right now that the majority of the people, that is not enough. The 401k was never designed to be the sole vehicle for retirement. It was never designed that way. You have to have some other things going on to make sure that you have income in those later years. So you don't want your future you being mad at your current you, okay, for not taking the time to strategically plan for this time in your life, okay? So we've got a plan for you. Again, like I said, even if you don't plan on I'm going to work forever. That's fine. Okay. But you want to plan to at least have options. It could change. You might decide, you know what? I do still enjoy doing what I'm doing, but I only want to do it 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week. Okay. You need to be prepared. Now, the other issue that is occurring is that there are people who have retirement funds, but they are accessing it. They are dipping into it. And why are they dipping into it? They're dipping into it because of emergencies, right? So you can go into your 401k for some specific reasons. They can be medical. It can be to buy a house, which I think is crazy that you would dip into your 401k to do that, unless you're going to make sure that the house pays you. Okay. That's a whole nother topic. Anyway, people are dipping into it to buy homes. People are dipping into it for, whatever other reasons, for to pay for deaths of loved ones, just all kind of crazy reasons. And you don't have to do that because there are other things that you can put in place to make sure that all those other things are taken care of. But because you don't do that, because people don't have life insurance, because people don't have an emergency fund, because people don't, plan appropriately, then they find themselves dipping into their retirement funds early. Okay. Statistics say that there are about 44% of Americans between the ages of 40 and 79 who have taken money out of their retirement plan. Okay. Now, what you need to understand is that when you take money out of that retirement plan, you think, okay, I'm taking out 5,000, 10,000. And there are retirement plans that'll have you like pay that back, right? And you're saying, okay, I took out 10,000, no problem. I'm going to put 10,000 back in there and it'll be all good. No, it will not, because when you take out that 5,000 or you take out that 10,000, that 5,000 or 10,000 that you take out is now missing out on compound interest. So it's not just the 5 or 10,000 that you took out, but it's also the potential returns that you have missed. Okay. So you've got to, if you were really going to do yourself right, you're going to put that 5,000 or 10,000 back plus, okay, the potential returns that you missed out on. Okay. So these are all issues. These are all issues. Okay. And then you've got like, the statistics say that about 77% of Americans have a retirement plan. That's a 401k or something. But then that leaves about 33% of people who don't have anything, nothing. And these aren't just young people. I am talking currently, I am meeting with people who are in their 50s, who are in their 60s, and they don't have anything put up for retirement. Okay. So we cannot drop the ball on setting aside monies for retirement. Now, if you are in a situation where you've waited, okay, it's never too late to get started. Let me say that. As long as you got breath and body in your, as long as you got breath in your body, it's never too late. Okay. Now you may have to do some major catching up. And I think sometimes that's what might scare people, because they might find, see, when you're in your 20s, you could put up a couple $100 a month and keep doing that consistently over years and you'll be fine. But as you get into your 40s and 50s and you don't have anything saved, well, now you've got to put up a couple thousand a month. And I think sometimes that discourages people when they learn, okay, oh my goodness, I need to be putting up what, 1,500, 2,000 a month, 3,000 a month. How am I supposed to do that? Okay. And that's really what I make. That's really what I make for the month. How am I supposed to put up another $2,000 or $3,000? And I say that's really what I make because in the United States, believe it or not, the average income is about $38,000 per year, a little over $38,000 per year. Crazy, isn't it? So people could get discouraged. Now, this is why I say everybody should have some type of side hustle. Okay. Everybody may not be meant to be a full-blown business owner, but everybody should have some type of side hustle. Why? So that if you are the person, and whether you're behind or not, okay, you don't even have to be behind. You can be saving, you can be on track, but you can always put up extra. If you have a side hustle, you can take the money that's being made from that side hustle, okay, your profit, of course, you take care of your business expenses or whatever, but you can take that profit and now you can start socking that away. You can start putting that into emergency and putting that into retirement, okay, if nothing else, right? And so that's why I'm like, everybody needs to have some type of side hustle going on, especially in this day and age. Things are expensive in this day and age. They're not going to get cheaper, okay? There's that dirty little I word, inflation. So things will continue, prices on things will continue to climb. And so do yourself a favor, right? Figure out what your purpose is, or figure out some things that you're good at so that you can do some type of side hustle and you can make some extra income so you can be very strategic about taking care of you. Okay. Some of us may not, some of us, the first place where we need to start is just looking at our own cash flow, the money coming in and coming out. Some of us have a lot of waste. Some of us, and listen, some of you might think that, oh, you're exaggerating. I'm not. Listen, I've been working with people since 2011, 2012. Okay. And when I sit down with people to go through their income and expenses, I'm telling you, almost every time I will find 400, 600, 800, a grand, or a little more than a grand of waste. I have sat down with people who spend $600 a month in fast food, right? Or eating out. I have found people spending, that type of money in, in other areas, just entertainment and all kinds of things, right? And so it's like, what's important? What's more important, right? Making sure that you are secure, or, going out to eat this food that you'll eat, that you'll experience, and it may be good for a few minutes, But then we all know what happens to that food, right? It gets broken down in the body and then it comes out in some way, fashion, or form, right? And it's gone. It's not going to help you with retirement. There isn't any kind of, it's not nothing. Now, hopefully you're eating healthy. So it's going to impact you and keep your body healthy at least. Okay. But that means you're going to be living longer and you need to be planning. You need to have retirement savings. Okay. So these are some things that you need to consider, because one other thing that I want to share with you is that you cannot, particularly in this country, I don't know how things work in other countries. In fact, a lot of other countries don't even really get this kind of assistance. Okay. But in America, if you're counting on your Social Security, I need you to cut that out. Okay. I need you to cut that out. I need you to act like the Social Security will not even be there. Okay. That's what I need you to be, not even think about it's there. Let it be just a nice little cherry on top when you do retire, okay, that you receive. Okay. The money that you're going to get from Social Security, if you get any, will not be nearly enough for anything. You'll be doing good to have beans and rice. Okay. I mean, I know people who are retired, they're drawing Social Security. It's like 1,500, 1,200, a couple thousand. Come on, guys. We know. Okay. Even for a person with no responsibilities, no children, no nothing, that money is not going far at all. Just paying for somewhere to live will eat all of that up. Okay. So Social Security isn't something that we can count on. Okay. And now we've got more and more people that are pulling from Social Security at this point, because we got all of the baby boomers who are now in that stage. The last of them have been entering that stage, or they're in that stage. And now all of them are pulling on the retirement. What do you think is going to be left? Not that much. Okay. And we're not paying that much into it. Okay. So it's just not something to sit and count on. I know, again, having done this work for several years, there are people who have been saying, oh, I'm just going to draw my Social Security. Oh, yeah. Do you know how much that's going to be? People are just seeing these things. They haven't even looked into it. They haven't even looked and try to estimate, talk to Social Security Administration, or they got a website now and you can go to and kind of estimate what your Social Security payments are going to be. I'm telling you, they're not going to be much at all. Okay. You living off of Social Security is not where it's at all. Okay. So we want to do things now. Okay. We want to be strategic now. We want to plan now for retirement. Okay. Another thing that we don't think about when it comes to retirement is that you could be forced into retirement before you're ready. Okay. You might plan to work until you're age 80. Okay. I don't know. You might plan to work that long, but sometimes life just has other plans. Okay. It could be health reasons. It could be, job shifts, because unfortunately, and this is sad, unfortunately, in the work field, particularly in the US, I don't know about other countries, but particularly in the US, older workers are not always valued. Okay. You have a lot of wisdom. You have a lot to offer. You do great work, but these companies are looking at the bottom line. They're looking at the money. And the truth of the matter is that the older worker is eating up a lot of the money. So first of all, payroll is almost any business's most major expense. And they are always looking at ways to, if they're forced to look at ways to cut, the first place that they're going, 9 times out of 10, the first place that they're going is to personnel. And when they start to make personnel decisions and who gets to stay and who gets to leave, those who are making a lot of money, those are the people that are going first. And those people typically are your older workers. And yes, like your, management directors, things like that. Why? Because now they're going to replace all of those with people who are a lot younger, who are not expecting that much money. Okay. So that's something that you have to be thinking about too, that you could actually be forced to retire before you're actually ready to. Okay. So you need more money than you think to retire. We talked about that already. Just want to remind you of that. I'm kind of recapping here, right? So you're going to need more money than you think. Whatever you're thinking right now, you probably need more. Okay. You are going to, you need to, if you haven't been saving, you've only been putting up a little bit, it's time to step that game up. Okay. You got to be strategic about it. And so how do you be strategic? Let me do that. Let me say that, and I will wrap up. How do you now be strategic in your retirement? One, you need to find out exactly how much you're going to need during retirement. And that number is, I'm going to make up a word right now, it's figure outable. Figure outable. Okay. That means you can figure it out. That number can be figured out. It is not some mystical number in the air that never lands, right? You can figure out exactly how much you are going to need for retirement so that you can begin to plan accordingly. So that's your first step. And I call that your financial independence number. So that's the first thing that you want to find out. Okay. I'm going to need 50% of my current income, 80% of my current income, 100% of my current income when I retire. And so what is that number? Now I need to multiply that by 20 to 25 years. And now I need to also multiply that by the rate of inflation per year, which typically I do around 3%. Okay. And that's going to let you know how much you need for retirement. Okay. Oh, there are a couple of other calculations that go in there too, because you're going to need to know if you're investing, what is your rate of return? So look at your current 401k, your current retirement statement, whatever it may be, and find out what is your rate of return? What is your annual rate of return? Is it 6%, 7%, 8%, 9%? That's needed in the calculation as well. Okay. So that you can determine what you need and then determine, am I on track or not? Okay. And if you don't know how to do all of this stuff on your own, then get some help. Okay. I don't know why that the majority of us in this world feel like finances is an area that we can just kind of willy-nilly it in. It's by far one of the areas where we just feel like we don't need any kind of help. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing, even though what we're doing hasn't been working. Or we're thinking that, well, I don't have, a bunch of assets, or I don't have a bunch of investments or anything like that. So, to get some help from some type of professional is not for me. That couldn't be further from the truth. Really, the people who already have that type of stuff probably may not necessarily need a financial person. Or they do, but for different reasons. They just need them just to kind of maintain everything or watch everything, right? But the people who really need the help are the people who don't have a plan. The people, not only do they not have a plan, they don't even know how to begin to put one together. Okay, because I'm going to tell you, just sitting there and putting a budget together every month ain't doing it. That's not financial planning. That's not establishing a plan to create wealth at all. Okay. So don't be ashamed to reach out for help. In the comments, usually my calendar link comes up. I'm gonna put it in the comments again because there is a 30-minute. Yeah, I can't do two things at once. If there's you can get a 30-minute free consult if you've not had one before. You can get a 30-minute consult so that we can, talk about what some of your biggest concerns are and at least get some direction in a way that you need to go, right? And then from there you have to decide, well, do I want the help of a professional like Lexi? And if it's not me, find somebody else. Or do I just want to do this on my own? And you can do it on your own, but just, we know that most times when we do a DIY, that it takes us longer than the one who does it all the time, than the person who's this is their profession. This is what they do day in, day out. Okay. But now if I come in and try to do it, it's going to take me forever. Right. That's in anything. I can go out right now and change out brakes on my car. Seen it done enough times, been taught enough times, but no, it's still going to take me way longer than someone who does it all day, every day. Right. So the same thing in your finances. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about today for retirement. It is one of your storehouses. It is one of the things that is in your Profit First account. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, that means you need to go back and watch the last two in this series because I discussed all of that then. But it's part of those storehouses. It's part of making sure that we are stewarding the money that God gives us, that we're stewarding it effectively, right? That He can then say, well done, good and faithful servant. Our mandate is to be fruitful, to multiply, and then to dominate. So most of us have the being fruitful part down. We, go and we produce an income, but then it stops there. We don't move on to multiplication, and we certainly don't move on to dominion. Okay. So we produce an income, but we're not multiplying. We are spending it, all of it, and maybe even more than what we have, when we should be saying, okay, let me see how much of this I can keep. Let me see how much of this I can multiply so that I can take the yield from what I've multiplied to pay the bills or go on a vacation or do whatever. That's when you get to the place of dominion, right? And that's what I desire for you. Okay. So that's what we have for you today. We'll see you next week with another episode of The Wealth Seed. We're continuing. We'll still be on our cash flow problems, series. And until then, you guys have an amazing week. Okay. Bye.